Hey guys, it's JH with Kevski Diaspora. This is another video from our Labor Day trip up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. In this one, we get to meet Rick Seideman. Rick has been doing interpretive light infantry work for 20 plus years. He's a really good guy, has an idea what he's doing. He's working on starting a group up there in Green Bay, so he could really use some local help. You'll also get to meet Noah, his son, briefly, who accidentally walked into the filming. Enjoy. Hi Rick, how you doing?
Good. Cool.
So tell me about what you got going on here.
All right.
Let's start with what all you doing interp-wise and how long you've been in the hobby.
All right. My name's Rick Seideman. I've been in the hobby since, well, I started reenacting in 1988, but 97 is kind of when I got into it and started collecting the stuff. But my first event was 1998. I started out as Rogers Rangers, a member of James Toots Company, and then I branched out to 55th Regiment Company of Light Infantry. Then I branched out to 80th Regiment of Light Foot.
There's a pattern here.
Then I branched out to 60th Royal Americans because they had a garrison here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I started to kind of interpret that, but kind of quasi somewhere around the same time I started doing a light infantry impression for a Highland regiment, kind of a generic impression that I could do 42nd or the 77th, and we've been doing mostly 77th. And I think I broke that impression out in 2019.
Okay.
So that's what my history. This is Heritage Hill State Historical Park. It's a private entity that runs the park, but the property belongs to the state of Wisconsin. So that's how it's State Historical Park. But they don't get much funding from the state. It's very little of their income comes from the state. Most of it comes from other avenues, grants, donations, ticket sales, things like that. In fact, the first event I came to watch a French New Year event was here.
Really?
Yes, and I was hooked right from the get-go. It was pretty amazing. I saw snowshoes being made by the French Marines. I saw the 60th drilling and the skirmish on the battlefield. There were guys staying in brush shelters and things like that, and I was like, I'm all in. So it's got a special place in my heart. Plus, it's probably our best local historic site relating to the French Indian War. And so we had this event, and it had been going on for probably 20 years before it kind of had a hiatus, and then I brought it back for a couple of years in the mid 2000s, and then it was dead for probably about over 10 years.
Wow.
And then 2019 I started this up again, and we had only a few people that year. 2020 we did it again, and we had, obviously because of COVID, there's less people that year, but we were actually the only event they had that year. And then, so this is our 5th year doing it, and this year we had enough turnout that we actually we're doing skirmishes this year, which we hadn't been able to do. Mostly had been tactics demonstrations or musket firing demonstrations. So we've got a great area for skirmishing, for brush fighting, woods warfare. We're looking at growing it bigger because there was no actual battle that happened in Wisconsin, and we're kind of been doing just the overall French Indian War battle theme. We've decided that we were looking at opening up to all 7 Years War impressions, the continent, wherever it may be, just to show people that the 7 Years War or the War for Empire was bigger than just North America. This thing was big, and to show kind of the rest of the 18th century as well as 18th century Green Bay at that time.
Awesome. So we've got a 57-acre site that we're working with. On this part of it, you've got the wigwams, trade house, smokehouse, the oven, what's this next building?
The next one is a sugar shack,
okay.
So maple sugaring shack, and then we have also a courthouse or building representing the first courthouse in Wisconsin.
You mean the Snapdragon Tavern?
The Snapdragon
we had
Tavern.
A very wonderful time slinging last night.
It might end up being the Snapdragon Tavern for every 18th century event.
Well,
so
awesome.
basically the site is set up like an L, and this part of the L is what we call the 18th century area, or the early La Bay area.
Gotcha.
And then the other part of the park is a 1800s village, parts of Fort Howard, which was an 1820s fort, and some of those are original buildings. a Belgian farm and a cheese factory, and then an early 1900s migrant cabin.
Excellent.
So the history of the site goes from Father Marquette's, I think it's, or Father Alloway's bark chapel in the late 1600s to the early 1900s. So it's,
wow, that's awesome.
It's a long
So
period
you've
of time.
got a broad spectrum time-wise, and you got a lot of ground to
Yeah.
actually be able to do stuff with.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hope you enjoyed this interview with Rick, and if you're in the area, stop by, meet him, get to know him, and if you want, go ahead and join up. He's a good guy with a good location and good group. Please like, share, and subscribe, and to keep up with our madness.